You did go and you studied the military, and sort of the transition out of that is tough. What was the best takeaway you had?
Well, it was interesting. I got an opportunity to spend some time with a guy that had been at San Diego for a while running that whole operation out there and was over all the teams. And he talked about how they were having a difficulty when guys came back from deployment with the different units and different teams, being able to transition back into their family and into society because they've developed this essentially killing machine, if you will, and somebody that runs at a high level. And coming back into society was difficult, and they were having to kind of reprogram those guys. And it was interesting because I felt like that's a little bit like what we're trying to do. The sport of football, you know, is a physical, demanding gladiator event. We like people with some swag, and we like people that want to get after it. But at the same time, that doesn't go so well in society. So I felt like it was important, kind of what they're doing, that reprogramming, that we kind of need to do the same thing in the character development area to create an awareness with these kids that it's okay in between the lines, but it's not okay out here. And if you don't continually address that, sometimes, you know, we talk about toughness and manhood and what that is, and sometimes their definition of manhood and what real manhood is are two totally different things.
And it's almost like there was a moral obligation to educate these guys. And the NBA put out some interesting statistics. Did you guys know that the number one reason women from 18 to 35 go to the hospital is domestic violence? And we're seeing some stuff in the NCAA now, and one of the things that you can talk to is you have a zero tolerance for that.
Our players understand that if you're in a violent situation with a female, that we really can't deal with that. And that's just what we believe in. And there's a lot going on right now, really across the country. And so it's important to us to try to instill in them the values that we think is going to benefit them, their family, and their children 20 years from now. Forget winning football games. And so as coaches, it's tough because we're not the law. We're not policemen. We're not a judge. We don't implement or put in place laws. But we have standards, and those standards are important, and our players are expected to meet them. So we can only hope in the short time that we have them that we can educate them enough to realize that if you do this, or if you're involved with the female, you can't touch a female. You cannot hit a female. And if you do, then you're probably not going to be around here. And so we only hope that we can get that information to them quick enough and they can buy in the short period of time that they're there, because we all know college is a time of choices. You're 18 years old, you're 19, you're away from home. Things are out there. And so we worry about that all the time. Can we get that information to them fast enough to try to help them so they can avoid those situations?
What are your thoughts?
I would agree with that totally. I think the big thing is one thing that really resonated with me was I had a lot of guys that would come back, maybe they got 6-8 months in the NFL and then they got released. And the character development side to me, not only from a female perspective, but just overall, trying to get them to build their resume, if you will, and to think about life beyond football. And I think that's part of where that character development, those skills come into play to help you. As I tell all the guys that we have, that I hope that not only while we're building, you know, your speed, your strength, and your power, we're building a better person. So hopefully, because football is going to end for everybody, it always does, different timelines for different people, but are you going to be able to walk into that job interview and present yourself in a way that when you walk out the door, that CEO or that HR person, whoever says, damn, I got to hire that person. So that to me is a big part. And it really bothered me because I would have guys that would pour their heart and soul into our program and what I was providing for them. And maybe they got a shot, maybe they didn't. But then they'd be standing on my doorstep, you know, 6 months later looking at me like, I did everything you asked. What do I do now? And I didn't feel like we had a plan in place to help these guys transition into society once the sport ended itself.
Yeah, and just as a follow-up to what he's saying is that's the one thing that you realize, or one of the things once you, coaching is not as important to you in wins and losses as character development. Because what we say in recruiting is, if you come to Oklahoma State, you graduate in 4 years, and you make friends for life with your teammates, 10 years from then, if you're not successful doing something you want to do, then we may have failed you. And it's our responsibility to put you in a position to have success. Like Coach said, football is going to come to an end. At some point, they tell all of us, hey, we don't want you anymore, you're not good enough. Now life starts. Hopefully, we've provided enough character development and toughness instilled to them outside of football that they can start their life and be successful. And then, in the end, all we ever have is what we've instilled in people younger than us, our children or the players. That's all we have left, because when we're gone, the rest of the stuff doesn't matter. To make a difference about your house, your car, any of that, that's all history. But what you've instilled in young people will last forever, and that's part of the character development that we're going through at this time.
It's unbelievable to watch the intentional development that's going on with Oklahoma State football, and we look forward to watching you guys this upcoming year. Let's give them a hand.
Appreciate it. All right.